Revolutionary greetings, comrades. We continue to discuss the influence of France in Africa. In the previous videos that we did explain that a number of African countries or former French colonies still pay taxes or colonial tax, to be precisely, to France. Their budgets are controlled by France. They cannot enter into a military alliance without the blessing of France. And comrades have been asking, why would independent countries continue to be controlled by its former colonial master? We then agreed that we needed to understand what was happening in the struggle for national liberation. That is to say, before the colonies became independent. We then, in the previous two videos, we looked into key political figures. One in Senegal, Sekou, was an intellectual. Then in Ivory Coast, Hopewet Bonji, whom we said was from a chieftaincy family or some kind of a royal family in Ivory Coast, who were influential in their own countries. We tried our level best to give details about the two leaders. We then said we need to focus on Guinea because Guinea took a different path from Senegal and Ivory Coast in opposing what France was offering. We then said in the last video that the then president of France, Charles de Gaulle, had declared a referendum on the 28th of September 1958. The referendum was for all the French colonies to vote no or to vote yes. Voting no meant that you will not be part of the Franco-African community. That is to say, you will be granted your independence, but in voting yes, you will then become part of the Franco-African community. That is, you basically surrender your sovereignty to France. Hence the points that you raised, that you cannot enter into a military alliance without the approval of France. So the two leaders, as we saw in the previous two videos, Sekou of Senegal and Hopewet Bonji of Ivory Coast, agreed with the proposal by France and voted yes in the referendum on the 28th of September 1958 to be part of Franco-African community. But as we promised that we will look into Guinea, which took a different route from others. Guinea, as led by Ahmed, Sekou, Toure, took a different route. And of course, Comrade Toure came from a different background from that of Sekou, who was an intellectual, and Hopewet Bonji, who was from some kind of a royal family. Toure was a trade unionist. He had a trade union background. This is very important, comrades. Most comrades, not everyone, but most comrades in the broader formations, be it former liberation movements, and in our case, what is now called the democratic movement. In the case of Zimbabwe, we know that we have a mass movement that have been established after we gained our majority rule, which are broad in character. If you are not from a trade union movement, in the most cases, you seem to be close to the West. But of course, we saw even other trade unionists. It doesn't necessarily mean that if you are a trade unionist, you are always progressive, as we saw with the Chiluba in Zambia, as we saw with the Morgan Tsvangirai in Zimbabwe, as we saw with the Sam Shilowa in South Africa. But we will, at some point, discuss that in a separate video. But let's concentrate on Guinea, where we're saying Toure had a a trade union movement. He led PDG, the political party, which he built as a powerful mass movement in Guinea. In 1957, there were elections in Guinea, and the party or the movement that he led, PDG, won 56 seats out of 60 seats, and Toure became prime minister at the age of 35 years. These days, it is rare. If you look across the continent, it is rare to find a leader or a head of state or head of government who's in their 30s. Most of our head of states or head of government, they are above 60 or 65. We will, in some video, discuss about ageism in politics, whether it is a factor or not. It is important that we discuss that question. Though, of course, comrades know that we are engaged in class struggle, but it is important to understand why is it, particularly in former liberation movements, we keep on electing older comrades to lead. Is it about experience? Is it about what we call protocol in the movement, in the former liberation movement, to say it goes about seniority, not necessarily protocol, but seniority, to say if you joined later, you joined the movement later, therefore you remain a junior, you are not senior, so you can't be a president or a leader of a movement when you have those that came before you. But it's an interesting discussion that we will certainly want to discuss. So Comrade Toure was not interested in the ideas of the Franco-African community. He was interested in the ideas of Pan-Africanism, as he was inspired by Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana. He opposed Gaule's plan of asking or presenting an option or a proposal for the former the colonies of France, which I think there were about 14, to join the Franco-African community. So he was opposed to that. This led to De Gaulle to tour the colonies, because in the build-up to the 28th September 1958 referendum, De Gaulle had to tour the colonies as part of their campaign, or his campaign, to ensure that colonies do vote yes, because the referendum of the 28th of September 1958, you either voted yes. If you voted yes, it meant that you agreed to be part of the Franco-African community, and France was going then to basically be babysitting you, if we're to use that term. But if you voted no, it meant that you were to be granted independence, because you did not want to be part of the Franco-African community. So De Gaulle was president of France then, toured the Guinea, arrived in the capital of Guinea, Conakry, on the 25th of August in 1958 to campaign for a yes vote. What is interesting is that the people of Guinea welcomed him. They lined the streets from the airport welcoming him, and made it clear when they were lining the streets that they did not want to be part of the Franco-African community. So Comrade Toure was not only advancing his political ideas, he was connected to the mass of the people, because he did not impose his views that the people of Guinea should oppose being part of Franco-African community. He worked, he came from the mass of the people, was a trade unionist, and when De Gaulle arrived in Conakry on the 25th of August 1958, it was made clear to him by the masses of Guinea that they were not interested in becoming part of the Franco-African community. In a meeting that then happened when De Gaulle arrived as part of his campaign, Toure attacked a French colonial record and demanded complete decolonization before Guinea joined the Franco-African community. He said, and I quote, "We prefer poverty in freedom to riches in slavery," close quote. I will repeat that again, quote, "We prefer poverty in freedom to riches in slavery," close quote. And of course, De Gaulle, you know, he was not prepared for such, yet not being challenged. You know, when it was like if you are a schoolboy challenging your headmaster, so he was used to giving instructions, and he never thought that he was going to encounter this hostile environment in Guinea. So when he left, of course, the Gaulle Guinea, he was very clear that look, they were in his views, or they were having a wrong person in Guinea. They were not going to succeed. So, as expected, on the 28th of September 1958, Guinea voted no in the referendum, and on the 2nd of October 1958, Guinea was proclaimed an independent republic. Senegal, Ivory Coast, and others, they voted yes, as we discussed in the previous previous videos. Now, of course, voting no came with the challenges. Let's then look into these challenges as we draw to conclusion. The first challenge that Guinea faced was that French aid was terminated immediately. When Guinea gained independence on the 2nd of October 1958, French aid was immediately terminated. Secondly, French civil servants, army units, army doctors who were providing health services to the civilian population were withdrawn. You will know that many Guineans were not trained in these fields. They were not trained as professionals. They were not trained as doctors. So when Guinea gained independence, civil servants were withdrawn. There was no transition. And also there was no training of local people to take over. That is preparing to take over when Guinea had gained independence. Comrades will know and are familiar with the ANC document, Ready to Govern. I'm not sure whether it is still relevant today, but it's important also for comrades to read that document, Ready to Govern. So the ANC understood during the liberation struggle, just like ZAPU during the liberation struggle, that at some point it was going to govern. So it prepared for that. But in this case, Guinea faced these challenges. The third point is that some 3,000 administrators, teachers, engineers, technicians, and businessmen left the country. Upon Guinea attaining independence, they took French government property they could carry and they destroyed what was left behind. This sounds familiar. We will at some point discuss Mozambique on what happened when the Portuguese left Mozambique. I think it was around 1975, 1976 when Mozambique gained independence. It seems something similar happened, but we'll do a video specifically for Mozambique to understand also what happened. But there is a clear pattern with what happened in Guinea. So they to destroy property, they to carry what they could carry, and destroyed everything that they couldn't carry. Government files and records were banned. So any information that was in the files, it was banned, it was destroyed. Any work that was there, whether it was research work or any plans that was contained or programs contained in those files. It was destroyed, offices stripped of furniture and the telephones. That was barbaric, to say the least, because to them, they were punishing Guinea for taking a stand to say, we want to be independent, then we can discuss as equal partners if we are to be part of the Franco-African community, not as a colony. Army doctors took away medical supplies. Police officers smashed windows in the barracks when they left. But of course, as I'm concluding, Toure had to turn to the communist Soviet Union for assistance, and other socialist countries who provided technical assistance, and technicians were sent to assisting comrades in Guinea. And Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana gave Guinea a large loan for them to address the numerous challenges that they were facing. So this what happened, comrades. As I said in the last video that we have comrades from the African Diaspora Forum who are from West and Central Africa, and I've said that ours is based on research. You live there in those countries, you have practical experience. Please share your experiences with us. Write your comments in the comment section, and please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Otherwise, Amandla, comrades, have a great day.